Hello, everybody. My name is Donald Butson, and today I am going to be talking about different exceptionalities that teachers are bound to see in the classroom and what to look for with these exceptionalities and how these exceptionalities or how teachers can adapt their teaching lessons to accommodate these exceptionalities. So throughout this course, we've learned about so many different kinds of exceptionalities that students can have, whether it's a physical exceptionality, a mental, a neurological, it doesn't matter. It's all about students who maybe need just a little extra help in the classroom. So throughout this course, we learned how to notice what these different exceptionalities are and different characteristics to look for within these exceptionalities. Um, and then also how to, again, adapt our teaching lessons in order to accommodate these students and give them the best opportunity to get education. So in this project and in this slideshow, I'm going to be explaining all these different exceptionalities and how I would adapt my teaching style and what I would do to help these students out, and also what you could do to do the same thing. So 10 to 15% of students in public schools have an exceptionality. So teachers are going to see at least some kind of exceptionality in their students throughout your teaching career. So it's important for teachers to be prepared for these exceptionalities and not be kind of caught on the spot when one of these appear. So, like I said earlier, these exceptionalities can be behavior, physical, neurological, pretty much anything that a student would need a little extra help. So throughout your teaching career, you're going to see these, and it's important to be able to identify these students and not allow them to fall behind like some other teachers would. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is autism. There's a wide range of autism. Autism is actually specified as autism spectrum disorder because they can have slight autism, they can have an extreme autism. So sometimes the warning signs or the characteristics of autism might not be as noticeable as other students who have a slight case or have a more intense case of autism. So, autism spectrum disorder refers to a range of conditions characterized by challenges with social skills, repetitive behaviors, social speech and nonverbal communication, as well as unique strengths and differences. So, the communication aspect of autism is really important in the classroom because it's going to be important, or it's going to be hard for these students to be able to communicate with their student or with their teachers and let their teachers know what these students need and how these teachers can help these students the best. Um, Also, the unique strengths and differences. A lot of people think of children with autism as not being as smart as other students. In fact, that is a lot of times the exact opposite. These students have these exceptional abilities and strengths that other students don't have. So being able to identify the weaknesses, but also being able to identify the strengths and exploiting those strengths is an important part of teaching a child with autism. So the students with autism can be difficult to teach because they have a hard time staying on task. Um, like I said, they have a hard time communicating with other students or teachers, and sometimes their behavior can be seen as disruptive or They can be known to have behavior issues. So if you see any of these signs and symptoms, it's important to be proactive and immediately point out these students and figure out what they need, like I said, so you can best teach them. Ways you can help students with autism: talk to their parents. Obviously, their parents have been around them their whole lives and know all the ins and outs, and most importantly, know the triggers that these students can have. The triggers can be things that can greatly benefit them. It could also be things that will set them off and will put them over the edge, so it's important to know both sides of that. Making a list of the student's strengths so that you can exploit those and bank on those rather than just talking about the ways that they're not as advanced as other students. Having a behavior plan in place, like I said, to not put them over the edge and kind of calm them down. And asking for help. Pretty much every school will have an aide or have teachers that have a lot of experience with children with autism. So any help you can get, any advice you can get from these professionals can be greatly beneficial. The next exceptionality that I'm going to be talking about is ADD and ADHD. Now, students with ADD and ADHD are becoming more and more common, and these students also can be known to just be badly behaved students or students who can't pay attention, when in reality it is a disorder. It's something that students struggle with, and it's not really anything that they can help. So these students will have a hard time sitting still or concentrating on a topic for too long. And this can lead to students being bored, and kind of that can cause the behavior issues as well. So also these students also have a hard time listening to authority and remembering what teachers say. So because their mind is always wandering, they're always thinking about other things, not really concentrating on one thing for an extended period of time. And this can lead to their grades slipping or their inability to keep up with a fast-moving classroom. Can also affect their ability to make friends, as they'll be seen as the kids who can't pay attention. So there's a couple of things that you can do to kind of compensate for these issues. And one thing is moving their desk away from other students so that they're not going to be distracted by other students and that other students won't be distracted by them. Give detailed instruction and repeat the instruction to ensure that they pick up on it. Allow for extra time for these students to complete their assignments. Allow students to move around the classroom. Like I said, these students have a hard time sitting still for a long period of time. Sometimes they just need to take a lap around the classroom, or they need some time to, clear their minds. So there's no harm in allowing them to do that. Keeping them organized with homework checks and checking their notebooks to make sure they're taking good notes. Just kind of keeping them on track and checking in on them every now and then. Teaching lessons through many different avenues: verbally, visually, tactilely. Not everyone learns the same way, and this is especially true for students with ADD and ADHD. So it's important to have a good plan in place for that. And also their behavior, have a behavior plan, just like students with autism. A lot of times disciplining these students can cause them to get even more frustrated and more worked up. So having a good plan in place can kind of help alleviate those issues. Now, the last one I'm going to talk about is physical exceptionalities. This can be a student who's in a wheelchair, or maybe doesn't have a hand, or just different physical attributes that doesn't affect their mind or their ability to learn from their brain, but maybe students don't accept them as well as they accept other students, which can cause some social issues and social anxiety, which in turn will affect their ability to learn in the classroom. So it's important to make sure that these students are accepted within their peers and are comfortable in the classroom learning alongside of their students. Also, it might be hard for them to be able to get through a classroom. So first and foremost, they have to be able to learn and get into the classroom and teach and be able to be taught inside of the classroom. Um, so a couple of things that you can do to help alleviate these issues is ensure that they are accepted by their classmates and encourage the classmates to learn more about these students, whether it's learning about their disability or just learning about their at-home life. When you get to know a student, you never know what you might find out, or what kind of friend you might find. So encouraging these students to accept a student with a physical disability into their classroom and into their social group um, is an important way to get them to be accepted by all students. So in conclusion, everybody is different, and whether it is a physical disability, a social, a neurological, it doesn't matter. We're all different, and it's important for everybody to have the ability to learn and have the desire to learn. So when a student has some issues like they do, it may cause them to not want to learn or not have the desire to continue their education. So it's up to us as teachers to be able to encourage them to learn and encourage them to never stop learning and never quit on school. So and be able to give them the best opportunity to learn, whether it's teaching their teaching them new ways to learn or different ways to get them to learn the material.